you could do a explanation, or how you could easily just explain the overall compensation plan that could help you, you know, explain this to others, right? So we have to know the compensation plan, because, you know, the truth of the matter is we're here to make money, and we need to know how to make money. And money isn't everything, but it is a tool that allows you to have a good quality of life. The compensation plan as simple as possible. This is kind of like a recap from what I did last convention, but we're going to go over some of the basic things, right? So tonight we're going to go over some of the things that we need to be aware of, right? What is BP and what is SP? Pretty much BP is like your currency. It's what you will get paid on, right? So there's a dollar amount that a consumer pays, and next to that dollar amount, there is going to be a BP point system and an SP point system. So BP is what you get paid on, and SP is your rank meter, right? So what you accrue in total amount of sales for that month, you look at the SP side, and whatever you've accrued on SP, you could calculate that towards your next rank advancement. BP, think of it kind of like the RIMAN currency that pays us the commission, right? So, you know, ultimately why it's different from the actual dollar amount is because there are costs involved for even RIMAN as a company to operate a business, but they're not here to operate a free business. They're in business to make money as well. So the key concept of our business model is win-win situation. We make money together where each party benefits. The consumer benefits, the sales party benefits, and the company that actually provides the opportunity and the product, it all benefits, right? So BP is what you get paid on. SP is the calculation towards our next rank, which has to do with unlocking more money as you go. All right, so let me give you a quick nuance in how the transactions work, okay? So when you just personally buy your own products, remember, there's rules and regulations here in America how we do this, right? So 50% is going to be paid to you in commission USD, and 50% is going to be paid to you in RIMAN dollars, which is going to be like a reward point system where you can get free products, right? Now, when you sell to a customer, a lifetime customer is one that puts in their name, email, and shipping address only. It is completely free to open. But when a customer opens a free lifetime customer account, when the customer products are ordered through that customer portal, then you will be paid 100% in commissions, right? Even though it is a transaction, there is some legal guidelines that we need to follow for self-consumption and self bonus buying. So these are the rules and regulations set in place in America. So pretty much the RIMAN rebate and RIMAN dollar, it's pretty much going to be very simple, right? It's just 50-50 split. Think of it as a 50-50 split based on the compensation plan. Now, let me go over something called the 50% rule. Now, as you guys start building your business, those of you that are planners, managers, and senior managers, we also know that the first milestone position is going to be team leader, right? Now, in order to get to team leader, it requires 50,000 SP. Now, per leg, per team that you manage, in the rank advancement rule, there is a 50% rule that is applied, meaning whatever total amount you have in SP, you will only be allowed to apply 50% of the SP in that particular leg to apply to the next rank, right? So it's per leg, right? So if you're trying to be a team leader, and you have 50,000 in one leg, that means you could apply only 25,000, and the rest of the remainder 25,000, you have to pull it from the other remaining legs. That's pretty much what it is, right? So this is because it's an unencumbered rule, so that it can be designed so that the person that is working will be actually paid. Now to keep in mind, if you are a manager trying to be a senior manager, right? Then if you have 6,000 points in one leg, that means you could at least apply 50% of that per leg. So this is the 50% rule, keep in mind. So this is actually a healthy method to be in place, because it actually will encourage you to go wide and build your open line business. Now, here are some nuances to be mindful of. Pay period deadline is known as the last day of the calendar month, 11:59 Pacific Standard Time. Rank advancements are calculated as most recent calendar month count, meaning it's not a 4-week count. It's not a, it's not going to be a 30-day count. No, this is month to month. So whether it's September 1st or September 28th, whatever sign up that may be, that will be constituted as month one. Now, there are some pros and cons based on how you come in, right? If you come in September 1st, you have a full 30 days to finish your requirements, you know, I mean, the first earned rank is in 3 months, but pretty much your first month, it buys you the full 28 to 30 days rather than you coming in on the 16th and having only 14 days, right? But that is the benefit right now. For those of you that are going to come in with big volume, right? Or you have a team or a small group of people that are looking to come in, and maybe you could right off the bat get over the manager and senior manager hump. Then it would be strategic to get started at towards the later part of the month. Why? Because once you can finish that at the later part of the month, within the next 15 days to 2 weeks, which is the 15th that comes up, that's pay out commission, right? So if you want a faster paycheck, you could wrap it up towards the end of the month, cram in the volume, and the next pay period payout would be the 15th, the main commissions that pay out on the 15th, the big commission. Then you would only have a downtime of 15 days before the next commission runs, right? So this would be based on strategic positioning, but remember, this is going to be month to month, okay? Now, manager, senior manager position is a real-time promotion, meaning you hit it, real time, you're going to get promoted and you're locked in for life. It's a lifetime rank. Now, from team leader and higher, which are leadership ranks that pay mostly on the depth of the entire organization to the next, until the next team leader, this is going to be calculated to following the month of the first of next month, right? So if I finish if I wrap up team leader qualification and I finish it in February, that means I will, for the remainder month of February, I will still be paid as a senior manager. And March 1st is when I will be paid as a full team leader. Okay, so keep that nuance in mind. Manager, senior manager, real time, team leader, and higher. It's the next following month of the first. Now, as a little cheat sheet, if you want to really calculate how much volume you did in those total qualifying months, it's very simple, right? Whatever month you are, just go back, rewind 3 months, 5 months, or 6 months, right? So if I'm in February, January, and December, those are my 3 month qualifiers, right? That's how you would do it, right? Now, remember, the last day of the month is the pay period deadline. Now, let me do some traffic control with the people online here today. Now, there's two ways we get paid. There's a weekly pay and a monthly pay. Now, usually when new people come in, you know, because of the confusion here, there's a little bit of miscommunication and a little bit of misunderstanding when they're like, hey, you know, I was expecting this type of a commission and I think they left my commission out or they didn't pay me correctly. No, but that is not the case. It is because the commission is split accordingly. So your weekly pay is going to be the rebate commission on personal orders, retail commissions on customer orders, right? The retail commission you just sold, right? Those are paid weekly. We want to get you paid out fast. We want the faith check to be paid to you as soon as possible. The senior manager and team leader open line bonuses once you're qualified on team orders, right? So open line bonuses, those are paid weekly. So for whatever you did this week, it pays out the next following week, Tuesday. Now for the monthly payment, this is some of the big checks, and the monthly payments are usually big because probably from team leader, director, and higher, this is where the income significantly starts to get big and grow, right? So the monthly check that we're going to pay you is the leadership match bonus, right? So the leadership match bonus typically kicks in when? After you're a team leader, right? So, you know, it only makes sense that you would pay it on this monthly uni-level commission as well. We want to give everybody a chance in every calendar month to finish out their 1K, 1000 SP in personal points. And in order to do that, that's going to unlock the uni-level commissions on all 6 levels, not all 6 levels, but whatever rank you are. And that's going to be calculated on a monthly basis. Top retailer bonus. Now, remember, don't get confused here. I'm going to go over the retail bonus payout. Now, there's the you know, by rank that pays out 10 to 40 something percent in retail, but then there's that extra 5 to 10% you could scoop up by getting personal customers, right? That extra scoop up is going to be paid out in the monthly, not the weekly. All right. So that is that top retailer bonus, that extra 5 to 10% in commissions, that's going to be paid separately from your retail commissions that's paid weekly. All right. Now, obviously, there's director overrides, right? And rev share. These are later into the director and higher ranks, but pretty much you're getting an extra royalty override on your sales volume that you have created in your business. All right. So I hope you guys were kind of able to understand some of the light little rules that apply into this compensation plan. Now, with that said, why compensation plan is so important to learn is because every compensation plan drives a specific behavior. It doesn't matter if you're a car salesman, a cell phone salesman, clothing salesman, a network marketer, or an insurance salesperson, whatever it is, anything having to do with sales, comp plan is going to drive behavior. Even these hedge funds on Wall Street, right? What are these guys going to do? Where the spread is the biggest, where the profit and commission is the most, that's what they're going to be promoting and calling their clients, calling it an opportunity of a lifetime. Same thing, right? Now, in network marketing, we have to pay attention and look at comp plan driving the right behavior, right? So when we look at the RIMAN compensation plan, we have to ask ourselves, what is this compensation plan asking me to do, right? Think about it, right? If I'm an AT&T phone salesman, right, and we sold, in the month of February, we sold 4,000 iPhones because AT&T said in the month of February we're going to put all the bonuses, highest paid bonuses on iPhones being sold. All the iPhone contracts, we're going to pay double. What do you think is going to happen in the month of February? All the sales guys in AT&T, they're going to be calling clients for upgrades, renewals, pushing the iPhone, because that's where the money's at right now. The following month of March, now we've depleted the iPhone and now we have a bunch of Samsung Android phones left over. And in March, they're going to put the emphasis on higher commissions on pulling and pushing the Samsung Android. What do you think is going to happen in March? Everyone's going to push the Android, the Samsung Android phone. Why? Because that's where the money is placed. Comp plan drives behavior. Now, with that said, let's take a look at RIMAN's business model and look at what behavior they want us to emphasize the most. There are 6 effective ways of getting paid, but boom, retail sales, right? 54%. They're saying our products are so good that all you need to do is promote and share, and the likelihood of you getting a retail sale is going to be very high. And we're willing to pay 54% payout, meaning we'll pay you more than what we take in as a company. Now think about that. That's a very powerful statement to, bet your money on 54% on the retail side. Why? Because what they're saying is, think about it, guys. They have a 30-day money back guarantee on our products. They're saying the likelihood of you returning these products is going to be highly unlikely. The likelihood of you doing a refund is going to be highly unlikely, that we're willing to bet money and take a loss. If so shall you should get a refund, right? So what is RIMAN really flexing? They're pushing confidence that as long as you promote this, even on a retail level, which is the most primal way of making a sale, right? The primitive way, we're going to pay up to 54%. And we're going to back it with a 30-day money back guarantee. This is how confident they are. Now, open group, why is it 30%? Now, you have to look at it like this, right? You want to be paid mostly for your efforts, right? But you also want to be paid handsomely and very nicely for working smart rather than working hard. And in the RIMAN business model, the open group for building an organization is going to pay you very, very nicely. Now, here's what I will kind of explain to you, okay? The biggest selling point would be the retail open group and the leadership match. But remember, leadership match is going to kick in a little later. So given that that's gear 2, gear 3, some of like the later chapter of the payout, the most important part would be retail and open group, pretty much, right? That's the comp plan driving the behavior. Now, open group and retail, the best advice I could give you in explaining how this all works would be like think of McDonald's as a franchise model, right? They make money 2 ways. They sell hamburgers and French fries, and they'll sell a franchise business where they can expand, right? But when you take a look at the model of McDonald's, why are they so successful? I'm willing to guarantee you it's not because the quality of their food. We could all probably make a better tasting hamburger, a healthier hamburger, a better quality burger, but that's besides the point, right? They make money 2 ways: selling hamburgers and French fries, or expanding in franchise. So what does that tell you? They're built upon convenience. And when you're leaving the McDonald's that you just bought the French fries from, as you leave, you're getting farther from that one and just getting closer to the next one, right? So what that means is they were able to leverage location, 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 meaning a lot of a little bit is happening at the same time every hour of the day. Okay. And that's what open group volume can do for you by expanding your team. Okay. Now, uni level, this is actually that we're going to pay you nicely and handsomely for actually building an organization, leadership override, and revenue share. This is for getting paid like a little royalty bonus for what you have contributed into the community based on the revenues that you've brought to the table. Obviously, leadership match. This is a revolutionary way of getting paid. What I can probably guarantee you, speaking on behalf of all the other NDs in our company, I will guarantee you probably 70 to 80% of the portion of their commissions comes from leadership matching bonus by the time you get to ND. And mind you, NDs, they're all either at the doorstep or well over a six-figure monthly income. Now, with that said, we have 6 ways to get paid, and I'm going to be breaking this down as simple as possible, easy as possible. This is going to be recorded, so you guys will have a chance to go back and watch this recording and follow up as well. Now, when we really dive in and dissect the RIMAN business model of the compensation plan, there's really two aspects to this pay plan. There's the now money and the long-term money, right? But the cool thing is if you focus on the now money activities, which pays you well now, the long-term money will automatically trigger in the future because of the now activities you do today. So what that means is every part of the compensation plan, the 6 ways you get paid, it is all congruently tied together in stages as you grow your leadership, as you grow in the ranks, as you grow your income. Okay, so everything is congruent. Everything is kind of designed to kind of work together, kind of like how you would dot an I and cross T's while you write cursive. It's just a very natural occurrence, kind of how you kind of like get bumped up along in the compensation plan, right? So let's talk about retail, the now money part. What's going to pay you well now, right? Obviously, when you first join RIMAN as a planner, you're locked in at 10%, right? Now, a lot of people complain, well, 10% isn't a lot of money, Chris. How am I supposed to, what's so impressive about selling a $50 product and make it $5? Well, the truth of the matter is, planner is not your final destination. Planner is like, you went to Costco and you got to try those little food samplers, right? And if you liked it, you committed to buying a bigger bag of those products, right? I think of Costco like a sampler, but then again, you're in the game. You made it in, right? Now, as you move along and you do 3,000 in 3 calendar months, you move on to manager and you're 20%, senior manager 30%, team leader 40%. And as you get to director, it starts to incrementally grow at 42%, 43%, and 44%. But pretty much this is retail commission. Anything you buy or sell, you're going to get paid on this, right? Now, as you do a top retailer bonus, meaning just go the extra mile just a little. As you guys move along in the compensation plan, what our company is saying is it's going to be very easy for you to get customers. Now, if you can accrue 2,000 SP and 20 customer accounts, which is completely free, right? If you can lock in 2,000 SP, then we're going to throw in an additional 5% on top of your paid rank. So pretty much, if you're a planner and you get this knocked out, you're getting 15%. A manager gets 25%. A senior manager makes 35%. A team leader is making 45%. By this time, you're making more than a regular director at the retail level. And so on and so on. So incrementally, if you can get yourself to 4,000 SP and 40 customer accounts, you're going to get an additional 5% on top of the 5%, totaling in 10%. So imagine you taking 20% as a planner, right? You're literally getting a manager pay. Or even as a manager, you're getting the senior manager pay and so on. And it's going to pay you a lot more. And that's how we get to that 54% payout. Very simple. Think about it. By the time you're at 54% payout, if you sold $1,000 worth of products right off the top, you're taking $540 for yourself. And RIMAN HQ is going to take 460 in to the company. But that's not even going to be full 460 to the company, because a portion of that is going to get paid out to the uplines that introduced you into the business, right? So this is a very, very juicy payout just by doing what we've been doing since the beginning of time, promoting and making a simple sale, just like how you would sell Girl Scout cookies, okay? Now, let's talk about the open group differential payout. Now, when it comes to open group, right? Well, here's what I want to tell you, okay? Open group is going to be the meat of the move. Now, but when you get to the manager position at 20%, please look at what I highlighted. You get paid personal sales, pretty much what you buy or sell, and your first level only. And we're working with a 20% base commission. So what does that mean? Do not stack the people that you are sponsoring. You have an obligation to yourself and the people you're bringing in to frontline sponsor them direct, okay? Because a manager is designed to be paid on their level 1 only and what they buy or sell, right? So remember, you have to set yourself up for success early on, because everything is congruent and everything is supposed to kind of self-connect as you move along in the comp plan, right? So pretty much, let me break this down to you. If I'm a manager and I sell product, anything I buy or sell, if I can lock in that extra 5% or 10%, I'm going to be at 20 to 30% payout on a retail sale, like right off the bat, right? Boom. If I sell $100, I'm gonna make anywhere from 20 to 30 bucks on that transaction. Very simple, right? Now, as I showed you, when a planner comes in, they're gonna make 10% right off the bat as a planner, right? They're locked in. Now, if I'm a manager at 20%, we call this a differential payout. I'm at 20, they're at 10. That difference of 10% is what rolls up to me. So whatever this person buys or sells, they're going to get 10% on their sale, and whatever they bought or sold, additionally, that leftover 10% will come to me, and I get the 10% as well. Now, if I'm a manager and I brought in a frontline leader and they became a manager, because they are my frontline manager, I'm going to take a 5% generational override pay on my level 1 equivalent rank manager. Okay. So what is this telling you? For those of you that have lived life good and you guys are popular, as you are starting your recruiting campaign, it means go wide. Wide. Frontline, be a sponsor monster machine. Get paid on the width of your business. If you intend to be successful here in RIMAN, I recommend you take Warren Buffett's advice. Someone sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. What that means is if you set yourself up for success and you create a true frontlining campaign, by the time you're a senior manager, you're ready to go. By the time you're a team leader, you're ready to be a team leader. And by the time you're ready to be a director, you still have 10 legs running. Think about this. If you have 10 legs running and you have 3 senior managers and you're a team leader, you effectively will have 7 additional open line legs running. This is how you make juicy money right out the gates as soon as you hit team leader, because the groundwork was laid properly as a manager, senior manager, by going wide. Okay. If you give your recruiting team members away, that is the equivalent of going out on the street and giving $100 cash away just because you felt like it. Okay. Do not give your sponsorships away. Now let's look at the next highlight: personal and first level, right? And then you get bumped up to a 25 base commission. And then you get that additional 5% SM open group, which I'm going to break down, and you get paid on unlimited levels in that open group, right? So very simple, right? This is the differential payout. So if I'm a senior manager, anything I buy or sell based on if I'm able to get that extra 2,000 SP or 4,000 SP, anywhere from 30 to 40, 30, 30, 35, 40%, anything I buy or sell, I'm going to make right off the top just by making a sale. This is absolutely one of the most lucrative, juiciest customer programs I've seen. Okay, now, if I'm a senior manager and I sponsor a brand new planner frontline, this person is my brand new open line, meaning essentially I'm going to be paid as the senior manager and I'm going to get the manager pay as well. Now, when a planner, anything they buy or sell, they're going to make 10%, right? And because I'm a 30%, the difference of 30% and 10%, there's going to be a 20% remainder left over, meaning this planner, whatever they buy or sell, in the pie of 30, they're going to get their 10, and whatever they bought or sold, an additional 20% override is going to get paid to the senior manager. Same thing right now. My other frontline friend, they stepped up, became a leader, and became a manager. Now they went from 10 to 20%. And because I'm sitting at 30% and the manager takes 20%, that leftover remainder 10% is going to be paid to me as the senior manager. See, managers at 20%, senior managers at 30%. So that spread of 10% is what gets paid up to the senior manager. Okay, so let me break it down very simply. If my manager frontline sells $1,000 to his mother, RIMAN is going to pay the manager $200 because the manager gets 20%. And because I'm at 30 and that remainder 10% is entitled to me, I scoop up that additional $100. So $300 was total paid out for a $1,000 transaction that my manager did. My manager sold $1,000 to his mom. A $300 payout was made, whereas 10%, which is $100, I'm sorry, $300 was paid out, whereas 20% was paid out to a manager because they get 20, so he got the $200, and there's 10% left over in the pie of my 30% payout. So 10%, which is $100, came to me. Now my third business partner became a senior manager. He stepped up. Okay, she stepped up. She bought 4 1,500 packs, jumped over manager, and became a senior manager. So now, because I'm a senior manager and my frontline is a senior manager, whatever they buy or sell, they're going to make their 30%. So I get entitled that 5% override. Now, let's talk about this 5% SM open group. Now, let's go back to the red highlight. If you look at the third dot, there is additional 5% open group unlimited levels commission. So what is that, right? Like a lot of people get confused when they see this, right? So what I just explained to you right here on the differential, this is the same thing as a manager, right? What a manager makes, right? 20%, right? A senior manager makes 30%, same thing, differential payout, right? But now anything below the first level. Now let's talk about level two. Level two. Now let me give you a brief example. This is a senior manager, okay? Level one, there's a planner, manager, senior, planner, manager, and planner. So same thing, right? They got the differential payout, right? Now beyond level one, look at this gray highlight right here. Do you see this little gray highlight right here? You can see this gray highlight, right? So outside of this gray highlight, there are senior managers, right? There's a senior manager right here, a senior manager right here, a senior manager right here. And guess what? I'm a senior manager as well, right? So how I like to break this down is think of this as like a baby team leader in practice, okay? Because this is essentially how team leaders get paid, kinda, okay? So let's look at the level one. Level one, you got paid as the differential payout, the senior manager, right? Now, what the compensation plan is explaining to you is anywhere in your downline, when you are a senior manager, any other senior manager in your downline, from that senior manager and down on, you are going to be exempt from the 5% pay. Why? Because that senior manager is going to get their 5% open group, right? So now let's look at my 5% open group from my point of view, okay? So level one, I got the differential payout. But below my planner, on my level two, there is a manager, planner, and a senior manager. But because I'm a senior manager and this is a senior manager, I don't get his 5% open group. He's going to get his own open group. So let's look at where my open group is. My open group is where? Anywhere in the downline where there is no senior manager. So if there's a planner, cha-ching, whatever they buy or sell, I scoop up an additional 5% paid to me. Whatever this manager buys or sells, whatever transaction happens, in that revenue, that extra little 5% comes to the senior manager. Same thing here, this planner over here, whatever they buy or sell, they get paid that 10% and a little 5% kickback goes to that senior manager. Same thing right here, the planner down here below the planner, they're gonna get that 5% kickback because there is no other senior manager. Same thing, right? But again, where there is no highlight other senior managers, they're running their open line group. They're getting paid their own 5% SM open group. But once you can understand this, it's going to be very easy to understand now how team leaders get paid. Why? Because you get paid in what? Unlimited levels in team leader group. And you get another additional 10% pay increase from 30% at a 40% base commission. And from team leader is where the leadership match starts to kick in. Again, I said by the time you're a senior manager, senior director or a national director, your biggest portion of the check is going to be that matching bonus. Now, let's take a look at team leader. At 40% with unlimited levels, this is going to get juicy. I've seen so many team leaders make multiple high five-figure commissions because they knew how to manage their open line correctly. Now, again, if I'm at a 40% payout, anything I buy or sell myself, I will get a 40 to 50% payout. Why 50? Because remember, on the retail bonus, that 20, the 2,000 SP, 4,000 SP, that extra little 5 to 10% increment, we're able to pay out, right? So let's just say if I'm a team leader, at the minimum, I'm getting 40%. I sell $1,000 to my mama. I'm going to take $400 off the top paid to me. Now, if I'm a team leader and I sponsor a brand new planner, a baby planner that knows nothing about the business, I'm going to make 30% and the planner makes a base 10%. Now, why is that? Why is it that the team leader is getting paid so well? Because in reality, it's the team leader that is doing all the work, the heavy lifting, and the teaching. All the while, the team leader is making the planner feel like they did it while they inject the confidence. You see, in reality, a planner is supplying their list, edifying the team leader while the team leader what? Does the hard work, does the presentation, does the demo. If they want to, if a prospect wants to hate somebody, they can hate the team leader and not the new person, right? So that's why a team leader is paid so well, because they are well-equipped leaders and they know how to drive the business accordingly, right? So in that pie of 40%, a planner, by default, they make 10%. I make 40%. So that differential payout getting paid to the team leader, 30% rolls up to the team leader. Now, what about a manager, right? A manager. So a manager takes 20%. I'm at 40, so 20% is left over. So whatever this manager buys or sells, let's say this manager sells $1,000, right? 400 is estimated to be paid out. 20%, which is 200 that goes to the manager, and then $200 goes to the team leader. $400 paid out, 200 to the team leader, 200 to the manager. Because why? It's a differential payout, right? So in my pie of 40, my frontline manager took the percentage of 20. So whatever is left over is 20%. That gets paid to me. Now, if I have a senior manager making 30% and I'm at 40%, the remainder differential is 10%. So whatever the senior manager buys or sells, senior manager takes 30%, and that leftover 10% to account for the 40 rolls up to me. So if a senior manager makes $1,000 sale, the senior manager takes $300 and $100 rolls up to me. Now, in actuality, well, $100 might not seem exciting, but if you had 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 senior managers in your open line group, all effectively doing this, can you imagine $100 rolling up to you, ching, 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 just constantly every minute or every 5 minutes or every hour on the clock, just ching, 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 $100 keep rolling up to you? That's what happens when you maintain a real strong open line to trigger these differential payouts. Okay. Now I'm going to break this down to you bite by bite. I'm going to fly through this, make it as simple as possible. But remember, my whole goal is to explain to you how a differential pay is going to work. Okay. So remember, if a team leader is at 40% and a planner is at 10%, right? That means that planner made 10% and 30 just rolled up to the team leader. But now let's take a look at the second level planner. Okay. Now, why did the payout change a little bit here? Now, the reason why is, let's look at the top planner and the second planner, right? Why? Because when a planner brings in a planner, they also get that frontline generational pay of 5%, right? So if I'm a planner and I sponsor a brand new planner frontline, I'm making 5% generation pay on my planner. But the frontline planner in actuality themselves, remember, a planner is coded at 10%. So whatever they buy or sell, they make 10%. So if you look at the entire pie, 15% is already accounted for and already paid out to the two planners. And if I'm at a 40% payout, how much is left over? 25%, right? And that's why whatever is left over. So remember, the way this works, this is the simplest way I could explain it. We boil the bottom. We make sure the planner gets paid first, then the manager gets paid, then the senior manager, then team leader, and so on to director, senior director, national director. But we make sure the newest person gets paid first, right? So what that means is, as a team leader, everything and anything that already triggered a payout, whatever didn't get paid out and is left over, everything in the leg in your open line that is left over and not paid out, everything in actuality is all entirely going to roll up to the team leader. Again, everything in its entirety is going to roll up to the team leader. And that's when it starts to get juicy. Okay. Now let's go to the second one. Same simulation here, right? Let's look at the second level and the third level planner, right? The third level planner, once they come in as a new planner, anything they buy or sell, they make 10% based on the comp plan, right? But that second level planner, what did that person do? They took the time to recruit, introduce, demo, and finally signed up that third level planner. But because it's a front line, they get a generation pay of 5%. And remember, planners only get paid on their level ones. So right here, 15% is already accounted for in the pie of team leaders 40%. So in the pie of the team leaders 40%, 15% is already accounted for and paid out. So in another additional 25% is left over, and that will roll up to the open line team leader. Same again, the third and fourth level, same as well. 15% is accounted for, 25% is left over, and that rolls up. But can you imagine on each transaction, imagine the level one transaction was like a senior manager transaction, like 1,500 SPs, right? Or somebody here came in at manager, right? Or somebody here also came in at manager, or somebody here decided to come in at 1,500 packs. Do the math, right? Just think about that. Like that's crazy math. Just even making 30% on a senior manager entry. Guys, that's insane. How much is that? What is that? Huh? That's like $2,100 payout just on the retail side, just for having somebody to buy for 1,500 sets. But it's going to be like this at every single level, because why? The team leader open line team leader, they get paid on the entire depth, and whatever didn't get paid out amongst the manager, planner, manager, and senior manager, which they're all sharing from level one. Senior manager gets a little piece of the action in the depth, 5% action, a little crumb thrown at the senior manager. But everything left over that didn't get paid, it all rolls up to the team leader. And that's why team leaders make such great money. Now let's talk about uni-level commission, right? Now, uni-level is a very special way of building a distribution channel, because literally this has to do with building a community. There's an emotional side, building friendships, memories, but also growing together, right? Now, what typically happens is when you build an organization, from you and the next 6 levels down is usually the closest amount of levels that you intimately, personally work with. That's usually the case, right? The level 1 are the people that you know, the level 2 are the people that your people know, and then by the time you get to level 3, everybody's strangers, right? And now it's all about becoming a professional, finding personality traits and navigating people accordingly on where they want to go, how they want to go, and how to do it, right? So remember, a planner, when we get to uni level, a planner is only going to make 2 levels, which is 5%, 5%. But it's all across the board to unlock the uni level. It's do 1,000 SP and 10 free lifetime customer accounts, right? Now, the 1,000 SP could come from one of the 10, could come from all 10, it doesn't matter. But these are just the requirements, right? Now, it is a big difference. Remember, even as a planner, right, you're going to scoop up an additional 10% on top of your 10% or 5% generation pay. So it's anywhere from an additional 20, 15 to 10% payout on top of the planner, right? So it's very lucrative. Same thing as manager. But now, at the senior manager rank, we also have 4 levels being paid out, and then we have 6 levels being paid out at the team leader rank. But if you look at where I highlighted in red, what this means is if you're a planner and you don't have any teams, you don't have a leg, you don't have any organization, but you do have one maybe big runaway leg, right? Like you didn't really qualify, you didn't become a senior manager, but maybe 1 leg or 2 legs, they started taking off, right? They just blew up, and it's just 1 leg, right? Like a 1 leg wonder is what we call it, right? Now, sometimes it's a little frustrating because you have to catch up and move along in the pay plan. But what our company did is, that's okay. We can help you make up for that. And what they're saying is, if you can do 3,000 SP personal points and 30 lifetime customers, we're just gonna pay you the uni level pay. We're gonna pay you as a senior manager and pay you 4 levels, even if you're just a planner. And if you could do 5,000 SP and 50 customer accounts, we'll pay you as a team leader. Can you imagine you have a leg doing about 100,000 a month, but you couldn't get paid on it because it was just a monster leg that became a runaway, and that became the popular leg? But RIMAN essentially gives you a cheat sheet. You do this, even as a planner, you can get paid uni level as a team leader. That's insane, right? Whether you're a planner or a national director, 1,000 SP, 10 lifetime customer points is all it's going to take. But if you must know the cheat code, how many of you guys remember Sega Genesis, right? You guys remember playing Contra? Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA. This is what that is, guys. It's the cheat code. If you can bring customers to the table, this is the cheat code to bypass everything and get your 6 levels of uni level pay right out the bat. Again, I want to kind of touch upon what this looks like. Now, we're not getting paid on like levels of a level, but think of it going left to right, right? So all your front line is your level 1, and whatever sales are derived in there, that's 5%. Your front lines, those are your level 2s, and whatever is sales derived calculated horizontally from left to right based on those sales is the 5% payout. And even on your level 3, right, based on left to right, whatever this person bought or sold, 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 left to right, side to side, based on that accumulated volume, you're going to get paid 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%. Imagine getting those 50 lifetime customers accounts, which are free. You got 5,000 SP and you unlock 6 levels and get paid like a team leader. That's what we're offering at the table. All right. We're halfway there. Let me talk about the long-term money. Now, long-term money. Now, this is the back end part of the comp plan. Now, let's get into leadership matching bonus. Leadership matching bonus by far is going to be the biggest commission, right? Whether it's the Hong Kong national directors, Amber or Jackie in Taiwan, those national directors, Steve Hyun, myself, Tim as national directors, and even some senior directors. I've seen some sick commissions. Okay, so this is pretty much the matching bonus is the mechanism that is the long-term residual maker. The roadmap to long-term residual is going to be the leadership matching bonus, right? So matching bonus is paid on your team leaders and higher for their earned commissions, right? So you make 40% of the commissions earned by the team leader or higher on the rebate, retail, open group, and uni level, and directors and higher, the overrides are included. So what does that mean, right? So this is not levels. So what this means is generation, right? So your first generation team leader is going to be paying you 40% on what commissions they generate. Now, second generation to you is going to be first generation to your first, right? So from team leader and hires. And as you move along in the ranks, director, senior director, national director, we're going to pay up to 6 generations from team leader and higher. But here's the cool part, okay? Let's say I'm a team leader. My level 1 is a team leader, and my level 2 becomes a director, and my level 3 becomes a national director, and they hit higher ranks. Well, guess what? Just so as long as I maintain team leader qualification, even if somebody is higher than me in rank in my downline, I will still get a matching bonus on them from team leader and higher. So let me share a little simulation of what that actually looks like. So let's look at the right leg, right? Frontline to me is my team leader. So that would be, I'm a team leader. This is a team leader. So that would essentially be what? My first generation team leader. And everybody in between here is my first generation team leaders, open line business, right? So my first generation team leader, if they generate 10,000 in income, 40% of that is going to be $4,000 paid to me. Now let's look at my team leaders, first generation team leader, which to me is 1, 2, my second generation team leader, right? So if this, so 40, so on second generation, what do I make? If this person made 10,000 in income, then I'm going to be paid 2,000 in income for my second generation. Now let's look at the other leg. It doesn't matter where you are positioned. You can be 3 levels deep, 300 levels deep, but it's the next team leader rank to rank that is going to be your next first generation. So my first generation team leader on this leg is going to be down here because this person's a manager, planner, and this person went team leader. So team leader, equivalent team leader, this is my next other first generation in this leg. And when he generates 10 grand, 40% of 10 grand is $4,000. So essentially in this simulation, the upline team leader and matching bonuses is going to walk away with a cool 10,000 in bonuses. Remember, matching bonus is designed to pay you long-term on the depth of the business that you build in your organization. Matching bonuses later become the biggest percentage of your commission. Now let's talk about leadership override. It's very simple, right? Pretty much when you're a director, on the entire volume you did, they're going to pay you an additional 2% on your open line override. So what this means is if I'm a director, and let's do it by legs, okay, for each team and leg that I have, right? In a leg where there is no director and I'm the open line, upline director, then I get an additional 2% on the BP that pays me out. But let's just say if Miss Abigail Meister, which is a director, and she's frontline to me and she's the open line director, then she will get the 2% override and I will get a 1% first generation override on my director. It's the same thing as a senior director. If I'm a senior director, I get the 3% open line override. But if there is a senior director under me, like how Ms. Brianna Michaels is a senior director, right? So if Ms. Brianna Michaels wasn't there on that whole business with Jen Barsami and Dr. Rimka, all that business that she had, I would be the 3% senior director override paid out, right? But because we have Brianna Michaels, that is a qualified senior director, what happens? She gets the 3% override and I get the generation 1%. Same thing as a national director. If I'm the qualifier national director, I take the full 4%. But if there's a national director below me, wherever level they are, but the first generation, they get the 4% and I get the generation override of 1%. So it's very simple. It's plain and simple, right? Pretty much maintain as much open line as you can, and you're going to be paid the most nicely and handsomely possible in the compensation plan, right? So remember, here are some terminologies to be mindful of: director open group, senior director group, national director group. What that really means is when we say director group, where there are no other equivalent directors or senior directors or national directors in the leg and the line that we're specifically looking at and addressing. All right, and last but not least, let's talk about global revenue share. Now, a lot of people say, hey, so automatically, if RIMAN opens a country, wherever they are in the world, do we, get to get some revenue share? Absolutely not. No, you don't. Okay, what I mean by that is there is no free lunch in life, guys. There's no free lunch. What this is for the participants that are contributing to all the markets, right? So if you're a director and higher and you have a global business, right? Like, like the best I can probably example I could give you is like senior director, like Mr. Julian Doan, right? He has a business in Malaysia, he's got a business in Japan, and he's got a small business in Taiwan, and he's got a business in, I believe, the Philippines, a really nice sized business in the Philippines, right? Now, so if you're a director, pretty much how this works is for every country, every month, at the end of the month, they're going to allocate 1% of the company's generated revenue BP into a pool. Okay, so whatever that is, they're going to put 1% of the BP into a pool in every market we're operating in, right? In all 14 countries we're in every month, right? Now, if you have an organization in those prospective countries that you are building in, that you are contributing to, what ends up happening is based on your rank for director and higher and calculating for each market you're participating in, the revenue that your team has contributed, they're going to tally that all up into points and pretty much assign points to you for every market. And when the 1% of the BP bonus pool gets paid out based on the shares of points you have, those are converted into money and commission, and you get that extra override on top as well. I know it's a little confusing, but this is subject to change because certain markets are bigger, certain markets are smaller. But pretty much wherever you contribute, you get a chance to get paid collectively as a consortium. Meaning technically, right? If I'm building in Hong Kong and the national director Amber from Taiwan is building in Hong Kong, and we have another national director out of Mexico maybe come and build in Hong Kong, all of these national directors, right, that have contributed in Hong Kong at the national director payout, we're all getting a split of all the markets that we get paid out, right? So what that means is I can get paid on another national director as well that is not even in my organization, right? So it's a great concept of doing global revenue share. All right, so with that said, here is the call to action tonight, guys, with RIMAN Roadmap Convention coming up, guys. In order to be successful in this business, don't make it analysis paralysis. Keep it as simple as possible. And the best call to action I can really offer you guys is make it a very deliberate intention to get 10 front lines. Okay, like keep your eyes on the prize. Okay, be a great prospector, but you have to get your 10 front lines. Why? Because when you get your 10 front lines, you're already locked in, ready to be a national director, even starting as a manager, right? Because why? How do you become a team leader? You need 3 legs of senior managers. How do you become a director? You need 4 legs of team leaders, right? But how do you become a national director? You need 4 legs of directors, right? So with that said, you're already setting the tone. You're already putting everything in place. And all you need to do, I mean, I want you to go 20, 30, more than 10 if you can, but at a minimum, let's go 10 frontline. Because why? By the time you're a team leader, you're going to have a juicy open line group of about 7 legs running while your 3 senior managers prepare to become a team leader. So with that said, guys, I want to thank you so much for being on the call tonight.